What is your scary paranormal hotel experience? When I was 15, I traveled to Europe with my family. We stayed in Edel, Germany in a small inn for a few nights. My parents had a double bed on the second floor, my sisters had the double bedroom next to theirs, and I was lucky enough to have a single room all to myself at the far end of the hall. When we went to check into our rooms, as soon as I entered the hallway our rooms were in, I remember almost feeling as though I walked into a wall of bad energy. I just felt so unnerved and uneasy in that hallway, but I passed it off as an overactive imagination. I slept the first night without any issues other than waking up a few times. The next morning at breakfast, one of my sisters mentioned feeling really uncomfortable in the hallway, almost as if the air was crushing. It unnerved me even more that I wasn't the only one who felt weirded out, plus she was an adult at the time, so it further cemented in my head that that wing of the hotel was odd. Later that night, I'm sleeping peacefully when at about 2 a.m., I'm woken by something ripping the covers off of me and being jerked about 2 feet towards the end of the bed by my ankle. At first, I thought someone had broken into my room because when I turned towards what had grabbed me, a huge looming black shape was visible in the darkness, like a man was in my room. I frantically flipped the light on, only to have there been nothing there. The window was locked from the inside, there was no one in the closet or the bathroom, and my room was also still locked from the inside. I stayed up the rest of the night scared, playing Cooking Mama on my DS. The next morning, we're at breakfast, and my sister mentions that she was up half the night because she thought she saw a person silhouetted against the wall of the room, but when she turned on the light, there was no one there. It was just a bizarre and creepy experience. We checked out that day, so I didn't get to experience anything after that, but it still freaks me out to this day. I won't name the hotel just in case, but it is quite literally branded as the most haunted hotel in Chicago, so it wouldn't be hard to find for those who are curious, but I have a story there that took place nearly a decade ago. At the time, I was about 10 years old. My parents decided to take our family, me and my younger brother who was aged 7 at the time, to Chicago for a weekend. My dad has always been interested in the paranormal, which means that I've always been interested too. The entire reason that we booked that specific hotel was because we decided together that it would really cool to go somewhere with such a strong paranormal history. Anyway. So we booked 2 nights in this hotel. We had our room connected, so it was 2 rooms, but they were connected by a door so my parents could get to us. They had one room, me and my brother had the other. During the first night, I was struggling to sleep and kept tossing and turning. I remember staring out of the window of our hotel room at the lights below, and then some movement in the corner of the room caught my eye. I shifted my focus to the other wall and saw a dark figure slowly moving along it. I could hear the footsteps. I immediately assumed it was my dad because it was the figure of a man. I didn't think it was a ghost at first because it wasn't what little me had assumed it would be. It wasn't transparent, it wasn't wispy, it didn't disappear before my eyes when I looked at it. It looked like someone in the room. A genuine person. I was confused and just stared. It walked around that side of the room, totally black. I whispered to my brother beside me to wake him, but he didn't. And then the figure walked into the corner of the wall that he had seemingly emerged from and was just gone. It was like he walked through the wall. That's when I knew what I had saw. The following morning, my mother was in the bathroom blow drying her hair after a shower and suddenly yelled at me and my brother to stop tugging on her towel. Me and my brother were in the other room and had never left it. We were playing with the Legos our parents had got us at the Lego store there. We hadn't touched her. But she stopped twice to tell us to quit it, and finally on the 3rd time, she barged out of the bathroom and saw us playing. She looked confused and asked what we had been doing, and I told her that we had been here the entire time. She said that she swore she had seen us in the bathroom, tugging on her towel. She was spooked. So about 2 or 3 years ago, my family and I stayed in a hotel in the city called Isfahan. We got 2 rooms in this hotel, don't remember the name, but we have pictures. One room was for my aunt and uncle, on a different floor, another was for my mom, dad, sister and me. My mom and dad had a room that had a door across from the bathroom, and my sister and I had 2 twin beds that was sort of in a bigger open living room type space, but we could still see the bathroom from where we slept. At night I was reading on my Kindle, the lights were off and suddenly, I had this paralyzing fear that if I put my Kindle down, someone's face would be right there staring at me. It was completely dark, and I assumed my sister was asleep because I heard nothing from her, but I couldn't put my Kindle down because I was frozen with fear. I couldn't even change the page, so I kept rereading the same thing over and over again. All of a sudden, I heard a smack sound against the wall and I jumped, threw my Kindle on the ground, and hid under the blankets until I eventually saw my mom get up and go to the bathroom, and the thought that someone was awake calmed me down a bit. I still couldn't sleep, I was still on edge, and I later saw my mom go to the bathroom like 3 times, and in my head, I thought she ate some bad food. In the morning, my parents asked us how we slept, and I told them what had happened. I mentioned to my mom, "You didn't sleep too much too, I kept seeing you go to the bathroom." My mother looked at me and goes, "I didn't go to the bathroom, you did." I was surprised, and so was my sister, who also believed it was my mother who was in the bathroom. She said she also couldn't sleep and thought she saw my mom go. My dad chimed in and said he thought it was also me. We all saw someone go to the bathroom like 3 or more times during the night, and it had a womanly shape. We were all shocked and decided we shouldn't tell my aunt and uncle about what we saw because they probably would think we're crazy. We meet up with them for breakfast and ask how their night was, to which my aunt said, "I woke up and there was 3 women staring at me, and they were mad." Back in the winter of 2019, my partner and I settled down in a hotel for a few days before going on vacation elsewhere. I am somewhat sensitive. I've never seen a full-body apparition in reality and never had any physical paranormal happenings up until this point either. I've only ever felt feelings in environments. This hotel room was no different. Upon entering the hotel room, I felt a sense of calm when stepping in. However, there was also a sense of curiosity. I felt as though something was watching my partner, and over time, this feeling became more comfortable, to put it lightly. Over the course of the next few days, different feelings became more noticeable by the minute. Most of the feelings consisted of being watched. Eventually I asked my partner on our second day there, "Do you feel anything off about this room? Like a feeling?" To this, they responded, "No. Whatever was watching us noticed that I noticed them." That's when the experience turned from lingering to dark. Later that night in bed, I had a normal dream. I don't remember most of it, other than maybe one image of running curiously through a black hole of mirrors. Suddenly, as though if I blinked, I saw the hotel bed, my partner, and I sleeping. We were laying away from each other, but there was a mass in between us. A dark mass. It leaned in closer to me, and I felt what only can be described as a light body pressure on my back and an arm hold around my torso. The thing spoke to me in my sleep, more specifically in my mind. It had a male voice, but took on the voice of a mixture of my partner and my first ex-partner. It casually threatened that it was going to hurt my partner. I couldn't move, and my perspective was going back and forth from my own perspective of laying on one side of the bed to seeing a bird's eye view of the bed. I wasn't lucid enough to tell it to go away, but did have enough control to ask, "Why? Don't hurt us." It then responded, "I don't want to hurt you. But I want to hurt your partner, and I am going to." I kept telling it not to better not to leave us alone. Then it threatened to hurt me as well. I could feel its intent, so I stopped responding. To my silence, it replied, "Good. Be glad that I am not hurting you. But your partner is going to hurt. Right about now." As soon as it said now, I jolted awake to the sound of my partner's vital fluid curdling scream. My partner's leg developed a Charlie horse cramp in their sleep. At the same time the spirit stated, "Now." I could still feel the spirit's energy upon waking, and one thought popped into my head, "I told you." The next morning, we packed our bags for the vacation. I could feel whatever tormented my partner the other night watching us leave. I told my partner about the incident, and they jokingly told me to not sick any demons on them. They did believe me. I've never had any experience like that before or after. And as far as I know of, I've never had a spirit contact me so directly in my life before this. That spirit did not attach to me, surprisingly. It stayed in the hotel room, and it's highly unlikely that I'll ever go back there again. When my girlfriend and I first started dating, we decided to take a trip to Florida one August. We quickly realized why flights and hotels in Florida were so cheap. We booked a hotel close to the beach and did typical Midwest people in Florida things over the long weekend. The second to last night we were there, I woke up in the middle of the night. I am a very light bad sleeper. Always have been. I laid in bed for about 20 minutes and eventually rolled over on my side facing the hallway to the bathroom. I opened my eyes and saw a woman with very fair, almost fluorescent skin with dark hair walking towards the bathroom. As this loosely describes my girlfriend, I assumed it was her, and I stretched out my arms and to my surprise, touched my girlfriend on the other side of the bed. Realizing what happened, I instantly tapped her awake. She asked me what happened and I just explained that I had a nightmare. She consoled me, and we both went back to sleep. Looking back, I am surprised I didn't freak out and ask to move rooms because I am such a fraidy cat. A real sprint up the stairs right before bed kind of guy. But I never really felt afraid or uneasy. More surprised, but what I saw the last night of our trip, I made sure to get drunk enough that 1. I didn't care about what had happened the night before, and 2. That I would sleep throughout the night. I didn't tell my girlfriend until we arrived at the airport and the first thing she said was, "Thank you so much for not telling me until now." While at the airport, I googled the hotel and the first suggested search was such and such hotel haunted. I guess back in the day, Al Capone and his cronies spent a lot of time there 1 or 2 renovations ago. I was pretty young, but still believed in spiritual things like ghosts. So when this happened, I was baffled. I was traveling with some family and we found a hotel we could stay at for a while. It was not a normal-looking hotel, it looked more as if an old-timed hotel. We all had thoughts about this look, but we didn't think too far ahead. The first couple of days were okay, but then, I would tend to hear a little girl humming, and all this took place mostly in the bathroom. After maybe a week, I tried to avoid going to the bathroom as much as possible. When I overhear my sister talking to my mom about feeling like we weren't the only ones in the room, I felt as if I had a knot in my stomach. And although I slept in the middle, I still felt like it wasn't my sister or my mother sleeping next to me. I also got weird feels when we went to the laundry room. I feel like I can confirm the spirit of some sort was a girl because 1. My sister and my mom said they also thought it was a little girl, 2 is because the eerie feeling that was this spirit's humming sounded like a girl.